Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're like most of the world, well, you've definitely heard the names Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce pretty much constantly over the last year or so.
Uh-huh. It's been everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay.
But today, we're doing what we do best here. Putting all that tabloid chatter firmly aside, we're focusing entirely on the verifiable financial data,
That's right.
specifically around their relationship and, importantly, the launch of her latest work, The Life of a Showgirl.
Yeah, our mission today is really to move beyond just the celebrity narrative. We want to dissect this whole thing as a pure business case study.
Right.
And the central idea, the thesis we're investigating, is that the relationship itself, plus the really highly strategic rollout of her album, well, they didn't just create some momentary
No,
headlines.
far from it.
They actually kicked off a multi-billion-dollar economic phenomenon. And the key thing is, it seems to be structurally reshaping entire industries. We're talking sports merchandising, broadcast media, even things like high-end wedding planning.
It's a huge scope. So to tackle this, we've pulled together a massive stack of sources. We're talking deep business analyses, confirmed sales data like direct from retailers and platforms,
Yep.
and specific industry reports. We've even got crucial excerpts from a new publication called Taylor Swift's Showgirl Business Strategy, plus these updated financial scripts detailing just the sheer scale of this, well, economic earthquake.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, and what kind of elevates this above just a typical celebrity endorsement, is that the core driver isn't simply fame or reach.
Okay.
It's what analysts are now starting to define as the authenticity premium. We really have to examine how this seemingly genuine, personal connection between two major public figures created such unprecedented and immediate business value.
Value that seems to far exceed what even the most expensive sort of manufactured corporate partnership could hope to achieve.
Exactly. We are literally watching narrative become currency in real time.
I think that concept right there, narrative becoming currency, that's exactly what you, our listener, need to really grasp today. So let's start at the source of the strategy itself. Okay, let's try and unpack the business model here. And I think we have to start with the artist herself. Viewing Taylor Swift not just as a global icon, but I mean effectively as a CEO.
Right.
Running one of the world's most profitable, vertically integrated entertainment companies. Kevin Evers, the author and senior editor at Harvard Business Review, he put it pretty plainly in our source material. He said, in terms of a business person, Taylor is simply at the top.
And that assessment isn't just hyperbole, right? It's based on decades of consistent performance and, crucially, market dominance. I mean, Swift is the only female musical artist in history to have sold over 100 million albums.
100 million, that's staggering.
It is, and it's a foundational fact. It demonstrates not just popularity, but an unparalleled understanding of consumer loyalty and a successful, really long-term business plan built on sustaining that engagement across multiple generations of fans.
Her whole operational strategy, it often gets summarized simply as fan-obsessed. But the way she executes it is, well, genius. Evers points out her entire strategy is built around giving fans as much value as possible. But that value isn't just measured in, say, digital streams. It's measured in actual artifacts.
Exactly. And the evidence for that is just overwhelming, and it speaks to scarcity marketing done perfectly. Think about the extensive album variants, right?
Oh, yeah.
The limited edition vinyl records, the CDs, and of course those famous cardigans. When these limited run items get announced, they don't just sell.
No, it's a frenzy.
It's a total frenzy. They sell out within minutes. So she's not just selling music, she's selling collectible artifacts. And they're designed specifically to reward that most dedicated fan base and ensure their active engagement is monetized immediately and, importantly, at a high margin.
That distinction, high margin, immediate monetization, that's really where the business brilliance lies, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And that genius carried directly into the creative inspiration and then the rollout blueprint for The Life of a Showgirl.
Yeah, the context here is so key. The album was directly inspired by the record-smashing Eras tour.
Which was already massive.
Massive. The first ever musical tour to gross over $2 billion. So that provided this monumental shared context between her and the global audience. It gave the new work an inherent scale before anyone even heard a single track.
And the launch strategy then managed to marry that massive scale with, unprecedented intimacy. How did she actually execute that rollout?
Well, what's truly masterful is the strategic use of her personal narrative. She announced the album not through some traditional press release or a big network appearance.
Right, usual channels.
No, she did it on the highly popular podcast of her then-boyfriend, now fiancé, Travis Kelce.
Which immediately tapped into his audience, too.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
leveraged his built-in audience while communicating the sense of authenticity, and the content itself, the album, focused on her inner life during that monumental tour, revealing what she called a new, happier chapter offstage. So this combination of massive business scope, the $2 billion tour, and genuine personal insight, the new relationship, it just maximized both relevance and profitability instantly.
Okay, so this leads us right into that crucial discussion for anyone trying to understand the business side. The revenue reality check.
Yeah.
People just assume, we live in a digital world, streaming must be the big money driver.
Yeah, that's the common assumption.
But the source material, especially from Evers, highlights this critical distinction. Streaming really does not create a lot of money for artists, especially when you compare it to physical media.
We really need to put some hard numbers on this, or at least hard comparisons, While Taylor Swift is certainly making millions on streaming, the album did become Spotify's most streamed album in a single day this year, hitting that mark in just 11 hours.
Which is incredible volume.
Incredible volume, but that revenue is built on that volume. Now consider the margin difference. To generate the equivalent profit of just one $35 limited edition vinyl variant, an artist might need, tens of thousands, potentially even hundreds of thousands of cumulative streams. It really depends on the platform's specific payout structure.
Wow. That's a huge difference. A $35 physical item sold directly or through a key retail partner like Target, that's high margin, immediate cash flow.
Exactly.
Streaming, on the other hand, is low margin, high volume, and kind of slow drip revenue over time. So the strategy really focuses on driving that physical and merchandise scarcity.
Precisely. The vast majority for revenue comes from that high margin merchandise and those vinyl variants. This is a really crucial distinction for anyone watching. Prioritize physical scarcity, limited editions, and high margin merch over the low margin digital volume of streaming. This model ensures that high loyalty translates immediately into high profit.
And we shouldn't overlook the film component either, which was another masterclass in scarcity marketing. Taylor Swift, the official release party of a Showgirl. It played in theaters, yeah, but for one weekend only.
Just one weekend, brilliant move. That added another high-impact, limited-time revenue stream. It drove massive, immediate cash flow, leveraged the whole theatrical experience for publicity, but crucially, it didn't dilute the album's exclusivity or its primary sales value.
Kept the focus on the main event.
Totally. It's about leveraging every available channel, digital, physical, theatrical, but always keeping the highest value items physical and scarce. This whole strategy just prepared the market perfectly for the instant, massive spending spree that the engagement announcement would eventually trigger.
Okay, so if Section 1 was really about the strategic groundwork, right?
Okay.
And the meticulously planned business structure.
Setting the stage.
Then Section 2 is about what happens when a genuine, seemingly unscripted life event hits that structure. We're talking about the instantaneous, verifiable financial shockwave that occurred the moment the engagement was confirmed back in August 2025. This wasn't some gradual trend. This was like a seismic market event.
It was actually a fascinating data study because you could immediately isolate the variables. Within just 48 hours of that announcement, the consumer reaction was measurable across multiple sectors that were previously, completely unrelated.
Wow.
Let's start with the most obvious one. Travis Kelce jersey sales. They increased an astronomical 400%.
400%. That's not a bump. That's a massive, immediate shift in consumer purchasing. We need to just pause on that figure for a second.
Right.
It means the consumer, driven purely by the narrative of the relationship, is willing to immediately invest heavily in the secondary public figure in Kelce, even if they weren't previously a primary fan of his sport, of football. It just demonstrates that transference of the authenticity premium we talked about.
And the transference absolutely worked the other way, too. Taylor Swift's own back catalog saw a staggering 320% streaming spike.
From an engagement announcement?
Exactly. Think about that. Her engagement, a personal life event, drove this massive re-engagement with music she released years, even decades ago. It just reinforced the entire value chain around her brand.
And beyond their personal brands and product sales, the announcement instantly impacted tangential industries, didn't it?
Oh, immediately. Engagement ring searches, specifically for oval diamond settings, based on those leaked photos of the ring, they jumped 450% nationwide.
Wow.
That's immediate, precise influence on high-value purchasing decisions rippling across the entire country.
And this rapid influence wasn't just limited to retail, right? The album pre-orders felt it
Well,
too.
oh, absolutely. Pre-orders for The Life of a Showgirl, which remember had been planned for weeks, they suddenly just exploded. The volume broke Spotify records, hitting 2.8 million orders in the very first hour.
2.8 million in an hour.
It just shows that the personal narrative completely maximized the profitability of the existing planned product launch.
This immediate cultural news was clearly so powerful that even the stock market reacted, almost instantly validating the economic value of this association. What kind of movement did we see there?
We saw a definite upward movement in related companies. The NFL's official merchandise partner, Fanatics, saw an 18% stock increase almost immediately.
Just like that.
Just like that. And this wasn't because of some new product announcement from Fanatics. It was purely anticipatory valuation based on the certainty of sustained high-volume future sales driven by the couple. Investors saw it coming.
And even the speculation about the wedding itself was enough to move markets.
Yeah, that was fascinating. The wedding planning platform, The Knot, saw a 23% stock jump. And that was based purely on vendor and investor speculation about their potential choices and the subsequent guaranteed trend-setting impact.
That's profound, though. Anticipatory business valuation driven solely by a celebrity association before anything concrete even happens.
Right. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, this cultural moment delivered tangible, hard value to the Kansas City Chiefs. The franchise valuation increased by an estimated $200 million.
$200 billion.
And again, this increase wasn't tied to, like, an immediate Super Bowl victory or some star player trade. It was a brand value elevation driven purely by this unprecedented cross-cultural visibility. Investors recognized that the entire franchise now had access to that massive new Swiftie fan base.
So let me just recap that because it's wild. In just 48 hours, they managed to drive massive physical and digital sales, increase stock valuations for related businesses, influence consumer purchasing habits for luxury items like diamonds, and raise the valuation of an entire professional sports franchise by $200 million.
Yeah.
It's the very definition of an immediate market shockwave. It just proves that the business plan was absolutely ready to capture that moment when it hit.
Yeah. Okay, so moving past that initial huge engagement shockwave, we arrive at the album's actual release on October 3rd. And this is where the sheer sustained scale of the phenomenon becomes just undeniable. The Life of a Showgirl wasn't just, an album drop.
No, it felt bigger.
It really was, in the truest sense, a generational economic event.
Let's ground this with the record-breaking performance data because the numbers are almost hard to believe. The album sold 4 million units in its first week.
4 million.
That figure is so large it almost loses context. So let's maybe contextualize it. It completely broke Adele's 25 record, which was 3.38 million units sold way back in 2015.
And that was considered massive at the time.
Exactly. We have not seen sales figures like this in over a decade. It just demonstrates the strength of that dedicated fan base combined with this massive cultural moment they created.
And it wasn't just one format. It conquered every format simultaneously. Digitally, the album achieved, 1.2 billion streams in the first 72 hours across all platforms.
Billion with a B.
Billion. But again, look at the high-margin physical sales. Physical vinyl sales hit 800,000 copies.
800,000 vinyl records.
Which set the largest vinyl debut in Nielsen history, shattering all the previous records.
Just the logistics of even producing 800,000 vinyl records, especially with the supply chain still recovering from global pressures, that's a story in itself.
Oh, absolutely.
It highlights the immense manufacturing leverage she holds over the entire industry.
It really does. And all this activity translates directly into just astronomical revenue. Industry analysts conservatively estimate the album generated approximately $120 million in first-week revenue alone.
$120 million in 1 week.
Yeah. And to put that in perspective for you listening, many major artists don't generate that much revenue over the entire lifespan of a single album.
Wow.
This is exactly why analysts treat her not just as an entertainer, but as a massive, quantifiable economic force that's driving supply chains and retail strategy across the board.
And the ripple effects across retail were immediate and, again, measurably strategic. Target, for instance, which carried those exclusive colored vinyl editions.
Yeah, they always get those.
They reported selling out within just 3 hours of release. Now, how did this benefit Target beyond just the immediate sales?
Well, obviously, it drives enormous measurable foot traffic and digital engagement to Target. But critically, the effect wasn't limited to just the major retailers like Target. Independent record stores saw a reported 300% increase in foot traffic that week, according to industry reports.
That's great for them.
It really is. It means her launch generates this kind of tide that lifts the entire physical retail ecosystem for music, not just the big players.
Okay, this raises a fantastic point about the intersection of cultural timing and that strategic marketing genius. Let's talk about the specific release date choice. October 3rd.
Oh, yeah. That is just a masterclass in cost-free viral marketing. Swift strategically tapped into that very well-known Mean Girls fan culture moment.
It's October 3rd.
Exactly. That line generates annual massive social media traffic anyway. So by positioning her album release on that specific day, she generated literally billions of organic social media impressions. It's essentially free advertising driven purely by cultural alignment rather than any paid placement.
That is just profound insight. It demonstrates an understanding of digital culture that really far surpasses traditional media planning, doesn't it?
Totally. And the cross-industry boost became a recognized metric almost instantly. Urban Outfitters stock rose 8% purely on the announcements of merchandise collaborations tied to the album.
Just the announcement.
Just the announcement, signaling investor confidence in her selling power. We also saw specific fashion choices, things referenced in the music videos or tied to the album's narrative, driving immediate sellouts. There was one vintage-style jacket specifically referenced in track 7, apparently, that sold out globally in 24 hours.
Incredible.
The marketing is just built seamlessly into the product and the narrative itself.
So the takeaway here seems crystal clear. The album wasn't just a product. It was a culturally synchronized, high-margin asset meticulously designed to maximize revenue across every possible format, while simultaneously creating this massive organic buzz.
Okay, so what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how the relationship maybe inadvertently solved this major challenge that global marketers have struggled with for decades.
Which is what?
Which is uniting high loyalty, yet completely diverse demographics. The convergence of the Swifties, who are, predominantly young, female, highly engaged, and the NFL fans, traditionally older, more male sports-focused. That combination is genuinely a cross-demographic goldmine.
We're talking about an overlap that represents, what, over 100 million U.S. consumers?
At least. The scale is just astounding. And if you look at the combined spending power of those two overlapping audiences, the conservative estimate is over $200 billion annually.
$200 billion.
Oh, yeah. So for any brand, this represents the dream demographic, right? They are high engagement. They demonstrate incredibly high loyalty to their respective communities. And critically, they are now authentically connected through the narrative of the relationship.
And they trust the source, right? Because the relationship is perceived as real, not sponsored.
Exactly. It doesn't feel transactional.
And this authenticity allows for what we've been calling this organic endorsement power. Unlike those traditional, hugely expensive paid partnerships that often come across as kind of forced.
Yeah, a bit cringy sometimes.
Brands seem to benefit tremendously from just mere genuine association. Can you give us an example of how that organic lift actually manifests?
Yeah, look at local economics, for instance.
Yeah.
Restaurants they simply visit, whether it's in Kansas City or New York, they see 200% to 300% increases in reservation requests.
200 to 300%.
And that can last for weeks, long after they've even left the building. There's no contract involved, there's no payment changing hands, just pure, sustained association value.
And it touches every price point too, doesn't it? Clothing items spotted on them sell out within hours.
Instantly.
Even the Kansas City airport reported increased international flight bookings. People are literally traveling there simply because of the celebrity connection, transforming regional tourism metrics.
Right. And think about the Chiefs' Monday night game broadcasts. The ratings were 30% higher when Taylor attended. That's quantifiable broadcast value. Directly attributable.
30% is huge in TV ratings.
It's massive, and this phenomenon fundamentally challenges, maybe even destabilizes, the old model of high-priced manufactured affluencer marketing. Because the connection feels authentic and the lift is so measurable, advertising agencies are just scrambling to keep up. We are seeing evidence in our source material of major agencies creating entirely new internal structures just to deal with this.
Really? Tell me more about that. What do these new divisions actually look like?
Well, one major agency established what they call a cross-cultural celebrity impact division, and it's dedicated solely to understanding and leveraging the specific type of demographic convergence. Their job is essentially to track these narrative shifts and advise clients on how to authentically align with these cultural movements, moving away from simple product placement towards like deep narrative integration.
So they're recognizing the ROI is higher with authenticity.
Exactly. They're recognizing that the return on investment from an authentic connection just far surpasses that of a manufactured partnership.
So this brings us right back to that core finding that really must be recognized by any brand builder listening, the authenticity premium. The relationship demonstrated, pretty unequivocally, that genuine personal connections create more scalable and sustained economic value than manufactured partnerships ever could.
And the economic activity extends far beyond their direct control, too. The indirect influence economics are staggering. Think about third-party sellers on platforms like Etsy. These are small businesses, right? They saw a 500% increase in Taylor and Travis-themed merchandise. Now, obviously, this revenue doesn't go directly to the couple, but it's a measurable economic boost derived purely from their joint cultural presence. The market has recognized this premium, and it's changing business strategy across the board, from billion-dollar companies right down to, garage entrepreneurs.
The sheer depth of this economic impact means we're not just talking about temporary sales lifts anymore. We're talking about actual structural shifts in major industries. Let's start with the NFL's female audience revolution. The data here is really a perfect case study in market access.
Oh, the measurable shift is historic. The NFL Plus streaming service, the one designed to capture really dedicated football fans, it gained 2.3 million new subscribers.
Okay.
But critically, 63% of those new subscribers were female. That is absolutely unprecedented for a service that traditionally caters almost exclusively to a male audience.
63% female. Wow. And the broadcast media metrics back that up too.
Completely. Peacock's NFL games featuring the Chiefs saw a 400% viewership increase, sometimes peaking over 50 million viewers. The NFL itself has openly acknowledged that Taylor Swift directly contributed to their largest female audience growth in their history. Specifically, a 53% increase in female viewers ages 18 to 34.
A demographic they've struggled to reach.
Exactly. A demographic previously considered very difficult to penetrate.
So this is forcing permanent changes within the NFL.
It has to. Merchandise sales to women jumped 300%. So the NFL is now fundamentally changing its approach to marketing, to content presentation, even product development. They recognize this massive, previously underserved market.
What does that look like practically?
Well, it means changes to broadcast graphics, maybe making them more appealing or informative to new viewers, more female-focused merchandise lines, obviously, and new content strategies focusing more on athlete personalities and lifestyle content, not just the X's and O's. It's really a structural pivot for the league.
Okay, so moving from the sports field to the wedding aisle, their confirmed engagement has sent its own measurable shockwave through the massive $70 billion U.S. wedding industry. What's the immediate vendor impact been like?
Immediate and profound. High-end wedding planners in major markets, think Nashville, LA, New York, they're reporting a 400% increase in consultation requests.
Well, 100%.
And they often cite the couple specifically as their core inspiration. This is an immediate demand spike driven purely by aspiration.
And the supply side is reacting structurally as well, right? It's not just demand.
No, exactly. Luxury venues, particularly those maybe associated with rumored locations like Nashville, Rhode Island, or even just the specific type of event spaces they might choose, they have wait lists extending well to 2027 now.
2027.
This isn't just hype. This is actual structural economic pressure causing a multi-year lag in service availability for high-end weddings.
And what about the economic impact of the wedding itself?
Industry analysts are conservatively estimating the wedding event itself will generate somewhere between $150 to $200 million in localized economic impact.
Just the wedding.
Just the wedding. That's through hotels, transportation, security, catering, local vendor booths, the whole 9 yards. But the long-term impact really lies in her trend-setting power.
Right, that's the enduring legacy, isn't it? Her choices basically define the trends for the entire industry for years.
Precisely. I mean, if she chooses a particular dress designer, that brand will likely see production backlogs of 18 months or more, fundamentally altering their supply chain and their pricing model overnight. Her choices, from the floral arrangements to the catering style, even the type of paper used for invitations, will define color palettes, flower choices, photography styles for the entire $70 billion industry for years to come. That's how a single event can define a multi-billion-dollar industry's trajectory.
Okay, finally in this section, we have to look at the immediate geographic impact, specifically the Kansas City transformation. What are the regional economic effects we've seen from this sustained, high-profile attention?
Well, tourism increased 180% year over year, and significantly, international visitors are explicitly mentioning the Taylor-Travis connection as a primary reason for choosing Kansas City. People are doing, like, stadium pilgrimages and visiting restaurants associated with the couple.
Wow, and that attention translated directly into a local business boom that affects core infrastructure.
Oh, yeah. Hotel occupancy rates during Chiefs home games hit a remarkable 95%. That's dramatically up from the historical average, which was maybe 65% to 70%.
That's a huge jump, nearly full capacity.
It's a 30-point structural improvement in occupancy sustained over time. And Kansas City officials have actually confirmed they accelerated downtown development projects, things like revamping entertainment districts and infrastructure improvements, specifically in anticipation of this continued high-profile attention and sustained tourism growth.
Smart move.
They recognize that this window of visibility provided a unique opportunity to fast-track municipal projects that might have otherwise taken years longer.
And for those in the travel business itself, this phenomenon has basically created entirely new product lines, hasn't it?
It really has. Travel companies created these proprietary Taylor and Travis tour packages. They take people to significant locations from their relationship, and these packages, which focus on kind of experiential luxury tourism, they sold out for the entire 2026 season within weeks of launching. So this whole phenomenon isn't just generating, massive sales figures, it's actually generating formal academic research and institutional recognition. And that really validates its status as a genuine paradigm shift in business and marketing. We are seeing this being formalized as like a required business case study.
Now, this is truly the marker that it has moved way beyond just pop culture chatter, isn't it?
Absolutely. Harvard Business School has confirmed they are developing a full case study focusing explicitly on the economic impact of the relationship, their combined branding strategies, and crucially, the monestation of that authenticity we keep talking about.
That's really significant. It means the Swift-Kelce effect, as people are calling it, is moving beyond just commentary and into institutional validation, into actual pedagogy.
Right. And marketing textbooks are literally being updated right now to include this relationship as a definitive modern example of cross-cultural influence and monetization strategy. The next generation of marketers will study this launch as rigorously as they study, Coca-Cola or Apple strategies.
So let's try and summarize the core takeaways from this pretty extensive deep dive. This is definitively a legitimate, groundbreaking business case study, and it's backed by just staggering verifiable data.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie.
We saw the record-breaking 4 million first-week album sales, the $200 million Chiefs valuation increase, that astronomical 400% jump in Kelce jersey sales almost overnight, and the permanent structural transformation of the NFL's audience demographic.
And the key insight, I think, really remains the power of that authenticity premium. Their perceived, genuine personal connection became the single most valuable asset. It overrode traditional manufactured marketing efforts and created sustained, long-term economic value across multiple industries. This is a model that is now being taught at the highest academic levels.
What really stands out to me is just how fast and how profoundly this changed the game. It proves that the narrative, when it feels genuine, really is the highest value product today. It's capable of driving billions in indirect and direct economic activity across seemingly completely unrelated industries.
Absolutely. So if we connect this to the future implications, this raises a really important question for you, the learner, to maybe mull over after this. If authenticity is now demonstrably the most valuable currency in marketing, how does this fundamentally change the way any major brand approaches celebrity and digital engagement moving forward? And maybe more personally, if you are an individual trying to build your own brand or platform, how does this proven power of genuine narrative over manufactured influence change your own approach to communication?
That really is the ultimate game changer for the digital age, isn't it? Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Swift-Kelce economic phenomenon.
Fascinating stuff.
I'll catch you next time.